Welcome back, everyone, to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. I have Josh in here with me today, so it's not our usual Barry.
Hello.
But we also have a very special guest who came to visit us at the Ignite studio and at the BBB, and it is Walter Woodel. You own, right?
Correct,
Correct. All right, you own a Woodel Roofing System.
correct.
Perfect. Guys, it took me a while to get that one, let me tell you. But we had a conversation in Barry's office and we talked about a lot of stuff, and I kind of have an idea of exactly what you do, but what I mostly gathered is you're very, very passionate about what you do. So not only are you accredited, but you truly love the people that you service and the community. So tell us about what you guys do, your background, and how you got into roofing.
Well, it goes back. I started actually in 1983. My stepfather got us in the business. And of course, back then it was different times. We didn't have a choice back then. But he taught us a lot. So as we got older, I ventured out and started working for other larger commercial companies, learned quite a bit. And I started Woodel Roof Systems 4 years ago. So it goes back to, I've done everything hands-on from residential to commercial to industrial. So there's really no facet of roofing that I have not done over the years. And of course, roofing has changed tremendously over the years. So we have to learn and adapt as it goes.
You said something very interesting earlier, and it's something that I loved because, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying it, you said your customer's house is your house first. So elaborate on that.
Correct. So every job we do, every home is not the customer's home. It's my personal home. And that's how we treat every customer, regardless if it's residential, commercial, or industrial, it doesn't matter. And I'm very passionate about that because when I leave a job, I will come back and do a final inspection. And we're not complete, 100% complete until I say it's complete, because I treat it as my own home. And I wouldn't do that to my house, so I want it to be perfect each and every time.
And no doubt your customers really appreciate that. And like you said, word of mouth is a big deal for you. And so making sure that you do that well is important. But one of the things that you also deal with a lot, and you tend to run into people that did not do their homework like they were supposed to, is storm chasers. So elaborate more on the effects that storm chasers have, especially in this area now.
We deal with it day in and day out. It's daily, truly. These guys are coming in and most of them are actually going door to door, knocking on doors, saying, hey, you guys got hail damage. I can get you a free roof. We do not do business that way. And literally, if you have to go knock on somebody's door, that should throw a red flag right off the bat. And to get a free roof, another red flag. It doesn't happen that way. Number one, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
If you get a reputable contractor that is a certified contractor and we give upgraded warranties, there shouldn't be any issues. If they are, they should call us back.
Yep.
And if there is an issue, we can contact the manufacturer to take care of that. But the idea of these guys coming in and what they're doing is basically knocking door to door, saying they have hail damage. They're gonna tell the homeowner, just sit back, we'll take care of everything. Go to the insurance company and deal all with them and give them that free roof. But there's things behind the scenes that the homeowner doesn't see.
Yeah.
If everybody hasn't realized, why has their car insurance went up this year? Why did their homeowner's insurance go up this year? A lot of that is due to fraud. And I've gone behind some of these guys with the insurance adjusters, and we could not find hail damage.
Really?
Correct. And they get embarrassed. They did, basically disappear. So the consumer really needs to understand that and they need to be aware of that. And if they ever have questions, it's always good to pick up the phone and call a local contractor.
Oh, absolutely.
It's important to know how that ripple effect, like when you were talking about, you know, just your car warranty or your car payments are going up. You talking about that is just making me mad.
Yeah.
Thinking about just the storm chasers that has to do with the roofing is affecting your car and other parts of just what you pay.
I'll give you this scenario. This has been 2 weeks ago. I had to meet an insurance adjuster on a job site. We had another company out and said they had hail damage. I met with a homeowner, the other company, and the insurance adjuster. Well, the other company and I went and got on the roof to see what was the problem. And he went up there and before he had did a video and said they tried to repair area of the roof, but couldn't because they kept tearing the shingles. And one of my questions, my first question to him was, what time of the day did you go try to do the repair? He said, well, it was in the middle of the day. And this type of shingle that was on the roof, I said, in the middle of the day is the hottest part of the day.
Yeah.
These shingles have sealants. And
Oh,
as it gets heat, the hotter it gets.
Sealants?
Yeah, they have a sealant to seal down for your wind lifts.
Oh, okay.
So he went during the hottest part of the day where the sealant is the most active and basically tore the shingles off. And I told him, you're not supposed to do that. Why didn't you come out in the early morning when it's cool
yeah.
and pop them up? So we were there around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I went over to there and he showed me and I seen one of the shingles were torn up. Well, I went over to one area and pulled the shingles up with my hand. They popped loose. I
Oh my
said,
God.
yes, they can be repaired. And then he said, well, you can't repair it without damaging the shingle beside it. I've been roofing for a very long
Yeah,
time.
anything you would.
I even offered, I said, listen, if you guys don't know how to do the proper repairs, I would be glad to come out, get you guys out here and I would teach you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he told me we don't do repairs. We only do replacements. That's what we're here for.
Interesting.
So it goes to show you consumer has to
Yeah.
educate themselves. And I think it's our job to educate them because let's face it, a lot of consumers do not know the right questions to ask. And there's no silly question. It could be explained very simple. These guys door knock, they have all the books, all the information, and all they're doing is selling you a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And when I go to customers, I have no literature. I have no book. Because I educate myself every year, and usually it's every month because these manufacturers update their materials, so we have to learn it. It's a part of my job.
Mhm.
So I don't have a sales pitch. I have knowledge. And all of the guys that work for me, I have trained and taught. They have knowledge. They don't need that book to go and do a sales pitch in front of the homeowner. We don't go and knock on doors and say, you got hail damage. Because number one, you can't determine hail damage by looking on the ground, looking at a roof.
Mhm. If you truly know something and believe in it, you don't need to read it.
Correct. I mean, in order to find hail damage, you physically have to get up on the roof.
Yeah.
Period. It doesn't work that way, so it should draw red flags.
I think one of the things that consumers, and we talk about this a lot in the office here, we call it protocol of the consumer, right? And you discussed it with Barry too, that the new age range that's vulnerable to scams are millennials and then 18 to 24-year-olds because we're on our phones all the time
Correct.
and we go to Google all the time. Well, I don't think people understand Google's not our best friend. It
Correct.
actually does a lot more damage for us than it does good.
Correct.
Instead of them seeking out accredited businesses like you, and I say this every time I walk in this podcast studio and I sit down with business owners like you can tell that they love what they do. You can tell that they love their customers because they do the best job ever for them to the best of their abilities every single time. It's
Correct.
obvious.
And there are still a lot of these contractors like myself out there. And we're out here, but these storm chasers are basically going knock, door to door knocking. And it's actually ruining the business.
Yeah. It's
And-
probably
and-
causing people to be a lot more jaded too when it
Well,
comes to,
Not only that, I mean, to give you an idea, 3 months ago, in the month of May. In the month of May, Woodel Roof Systems replaced 5 shingle roofs. And the oldest shingle roof was 3 weeks old. And that goes to show you right there.
and your roof is supposed to last how long?
Most of the roof systems out here today are limited lifetime. And if you get a certified contractor like we are, we're able to extend those warranties even further for you.
Wow.
And those warranties will include material and labor. And the manufacturer backs that up. And if anything ever happened to that roof within a 25-year span, that roof is covered 100%, even the dump fees
Really?
are all covered through the manufacturer. They will literally pay us to come back in and put that roof on at no cost.
Wow.
That's the difference. But they have to be a certified contractor.
Yeah.
Most of these guys out here, they're only giving you a shingle wrapper warranty. And what I mean by that is basically you're getting a 10-year warranty because they are not a certified contractor. So if you ever have an issue in the first year, the second year, there's no warranty. The manufacturer's not going to back that product up. What they typically do is they'll say, okay, if there's an issue, we will cover the shingles, but you're going to have to pay the dump fees, the labor fees to remove it,
Yeah.
all the accessories, you're going to have to pay that. We'll just take care of the shingles. But if you're certified, those manufacturers guarantee, because all of our guys are trained.
Yeah.
We're trained and we constantly keep up with the changes with each manufacturer as a,
Well, you know what? Thank you for coming in and talking to us about that. That is a really, really important issue, and you did mention that more and more of them are coming to this area.
can I say one more thing?
Of course.
So I recently have another customer in Richmond that had a roof put on 2 Fridays ago. Friday night, we got a storm and it leaked. And it leaked all weekend, and she called us Monday morning, crying, irate, upset. So the first thing I did was drop everything to go take care of her.
Yeah.
And I went over there and the entire new roof was installed at the manufacturer specifications.
Okay.
And I literally told her there was nothing we can do right now,
Oh.
even with the storm that we had come through with all the rain, there was nothing I can do to help her, even a tarp wouldn't help her. So this other company came in that installed the roof, so they just showed up and put a tarp on it.
Really?
She called me that night crying. The next morning, I went by her house, the tarp was on the roof. And water was still coming in.
I would just love to send like recordings of these people to the people that do that to them. And it's like, you realize this is what you're doing, right?
And one thing that disturbs me is I actually read the contract that this contractor had given her. And you have to be careful and read all fine print of these contracts. Because in the contract, it stated, and she signed off on it. And it was very hard for me to even read, that basically the contractor, by signing this contract, the consumer accepts all responsibility of any damages to the house premises, liability of anybody getting hurt. And
Hurt too?
correct. So in the state of Virginia, that is not the Virginia law.
No.
The Virginia law states the consumer is the first person and only person to be protected. We as a contractor have to ensure that. I've never seen a contract like this, so buyer beware, you need to read
Yeah.
the contracts.
We actually, it's funny that you bring up the whole contract issue. We have a lot of issues with people not reading their contracts. And at the BBB, you can file a complaint, but at the end of the day, we're not lawyers. We're not government owned. We can't do anything after you've signed a contract. Sorry, we can't do
That's-
anything about that.
That is true, but in this case, Virginia laws do not allow that.
It's illegal, you said,
It
right?
is,
Yeah.
yeah, so I believe the contractor,
Null and void.
yeah, and I believe if they go in front of a judge, that would be a hard case to beat, because when we take our Board of Contractors license here in the state of Virginia, that's actually one of the questions on the exam. You know, you have to know laws as far as contract laws and Virginia state laws. And the first law is the consumer is your number one priority, and the consumer is protected 100%. This basically voided that right off the bat. I've never seen a contract written this way. So she has a lawyer that he's already reached out to me that we've discussed, and I think these guys may be in trouble.
Oof. Well, I'd say I feel bad for him, but I don't. And I hope everybody, all the other storm chasers.
Yeah, I'm a little different from that aspect. I mean, I feel really bad for her because
The customer,
she
yeah.
was taken advantage of, to be honest, because there again, they knocked on her door.
The customer, it's hard not to feel bad for him because, you know, from our end, we know because we're here and we talk to business owners like you, that's the only reason why we know.
Yeah.
Consumers don't know everything.
Yeah.
And so they trust easily because they're like, well, you say you're a professional and you can do the job and I don't know anything about it. So I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah, they need to really do the research.
Yep.
You know, when it goes back to me, I've done just like I said, pretty much all facets of roofing throughout. And I've taught not hundreds, but thousands of guys over the years physically on site. So I used to install roofs for many, many, many years. And I take pride in what I do. And it's one of the things that, that's why I started the business, because I see so many other businesses out there that there is no quality control. They go in, they sell the job, they turn around and pick up a check. That's not me. I go in, we do the job, I come back and inspect it. If it's not right, I'm gonna tell the homeowner. And we're gonna do it, and we're gonna fix it right. And if it's not right again, we're gonna do it right until I say it's done. And that's the only way we do business. And there are companies out here like that. But a lot of these newer companies, these storm chasing guys out here, most of them have no product knowledge. They have no idea what they're doing. They've never installed it. All they're doing is selling a sales pitch to collect money.
Yeah.
They're taking advantage of the system, and they're basically taking advantage of our insurance companies. And it's defrauding these insurance companies. That's why our rates have gone up. And guess what? Another contractor now, we're talking a couple of weeks ago. These guys, this year alone, these storm chasers have come in and done over 60,000 roofs in our area.
60,000.
My
Yes, ma'am.
God.
So beware, because your rates are gonna go up again next year.
Oh, God.
For these people that are getting their doors knocked on, of course, knowing to do your research, what are some good questions to ask them to just kind of throw them off?
Well, if they're saying you got hail damage, ask them, did you get on my roof?
Yeah, why are you on my roof?
Because number one, that's trespassing
Yep.
and soliciting. And why are they doing what they're doing? They're in the business to make money.
Mhm.
So they have to be very, very careful. They need to, you know, if somebody came and knocked on your door and said, hey, you got a hail damage, I can get you a free roof. I would close the door in their face.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone and call one of the local contractors. There's a lot of great ones out there. We actually have guys physically get up onto the roof, inspect the roof for hail damage, take photos, and then we could go from there.
Mhm.
That should be the first process before you submit it to your insurance company versus allowing these guys to come in and deal with the insurance companies directly.
if anybody tried to give me something for free, I would already just not stop listening.
I remember growing up, my dad would always look at me and be like, nothing's free. Don't ever forget, nothing's free. I was like, all right, Dad.
There's always something in between.
There's always something. There's always something that either party's seeking out as a form of payment. And I think that we forget that
Yeah.
sometimes.
And unfortunately, in the roofing industry, our products and materials have skyrocketed in prices. Prices have skyrocketed. And it's not the labor, it's definitely in the material cost. And I think a lot of the consumers are thinking, well, products are, the materials are very expensive. So they're thinking, well, maybe I can take advantage of this. And what they don't see in the long run is you're not affecting yourself. You're affecting everyone.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, when everyone's car insurance goes up, even though you haven't had a ticket, you haven't had an accident, your homeowners have gone up because you've had no claims. It's due to this, guys, and we have to be aware.
I'm not gonna lie, that kind of ticks me off a little bit because I have yet to get a ticket, knock on wood. But I just not dealing with my dad, so I never got a ticket growing up, still never.
I
got
have a lot of
ticket.
I have a lot of conversations each and every day with other contractors that we talk. They're really good, we're really good friends. And we share information and it's starting to piss us off.
Yeah, I bet. That would piss
And,
anybody off.
You're talking about companies that have, most of the time, we have more experience in this field than a lot of the guys have been born that are coming door knocking. They have no experience. And they're just trying to sell you something versus pick up the phone and call one of the guys you can trust. Because we're one of those guys.
And that leads me to asking you, how can everybody listening get in contact with you?
They could reach us usually by phone at the office at 804-800-5959. Or they can contact me by email at walter@woodelrs.com.
Perfect. And that is Woodel Roofing Systems. Make sure you check them out on their website, or you can go to bbb.org and find them, of course. Why not shop local and accredited businesses? Clearly, he loves what he does and he cares about his customers. Walter, thank you so much for coming in today and talking to us. And we took up so much of your time, so I'm grateful that you were even coming in here to do the podcast. Thank you. Josh, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Woodel Roofing. All right, I got it. We're good.
Listen, guys, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it, but honestly, we need to focus on how to get this information out to the consumers. We need to protect the consumers. That's our number one goal as a contractor.
And that is my next task, is making sure I can get you in here and get consumers in here so we can teach them. We want to get back to having proper consumer protocol. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you're on Spotify and you're listening to the podcast, please like it, follow, comment. If you're on YouTube and you're watching it, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. It really helps the algorithm. And of course, share it out, share the love. Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.